Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another standard gameplay video, and today we are revisiting a deck we played all the way back in Bloomburrow, and that is Naya Legends. So over the last, basically in 2024, they released a number of cards that worked really well with Legends, and they centred around Annie Joins Up from Outlaws of Thunder Junction, 4 mana enchantment. When it enters, it deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker opponent controls, and then basically it doubles up the triggered ability of a legendary creature we control. So Panharmonicon for legendaries, but it's not as ETBs as any trigger, so that's really powerful. So our deck is filled with legendaries that can benefit from this, and Final Fantasy obviously is a legendary based deck with lots of the characters being legendary, and there are a couple of cards specifically focused around legendaries, and they are Serah Farron from Final Fantasy 13. She is a 3 mana 2/2, which is not great because she dies to everything, and she has a static ability. The first legendary creature you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast. That does include herself. So if you play her, you won't be able to play another legendary with that cost reduction, which is kind of annoying. Then she has a begin combat on your turn. If you control 2 or more other legendary creatures, you may transform Serah, and she transforms into Crystallized Serah, a legendary artifact which has that same static ability, but then also legendary creatures you control get +2/+2. So she's really powerful, and especially so when she transforms, because artifacts are harder to remove than a 2/2 without any protection. Give her ward 1 or 2. Come on, she's a legendary. So if you can transform, it's really, really good. The other one is Venat, Heart of Hydaelyn, which I think is from Final Fantasy 15. Yes, 14, sorry, the MMO. 3 mana, 3/3. When you cast a legendary spell, draw a card. This ability triggers only once each turn. Then you can pay 7 and tap her. Exile target non-land permanent. Transform Venat. Activate owns a sorcery. She transforms into Hydaelyn, the Mother Crystal, a legendary creature, 4/4 god with indestructible. And begin combat on your turn. Put a +1/+1 counter on another target creature you control until your next turn engage indestructible. So that does last through your opponent's turn, and if that creature's legendary, draw a card. So a great bit of removal if you get up to 7 mana, and then obviously a lot of value on the backside and a lot harder to remove. What is also interesting is this triggers off a legendary spell, so it will trigger off Annie Joins Up, whereas Serah only reduces the cost of legendary creatures, so she won't reduce the cost of Annie Joins Up. So rounding out the legendaries, we have 4 copies of Moira Trash Tactician, who I think is the MVP of the deck, a 3 mana 2/4 from Bloomburrow. At the beginning of your first main phase, you add red or green for each raccoon you control. She is the only, I think she's a she, I don't know why I think she's a she, but the only raccoon, so only one, but if we have Annie Joins Up, it will be doubled up. Then when you expend 4, meaning when we spend our 4th total mana to cast spells during a turn, we gain 3 life, which can be doubled up. And then when we expend 8, we exile the top 2 cards of a library until the end of our next turn. We may play those cards for a good mana card advantage, but that gain 3 life to expend 4 is really, really powerful, because obviously with Annie Joins Up, that is doubled up to gain 6. Then we have 2 copies of Beza, the Bounding Spirit. 4 mana, 4/5. When it enters, we create a treasure token if opponent controls more lands than us. 4 life if opponent has more life than we do. Create 2 1/1 blue fish tokens if an opponent controls more creatures than we do. And then draw a card if an opponent has more cards in hand than we do. And obviously doubled up with Annie. Then 3 copies of Roxanne, Starfall Savant. 5 mana, 4/3. When it enters or attacks, we create a meteorite token, which is a... when it enters, it deals 2 damage to any target. Then we can tap to add 1 mana of any colour. But then she also has, whenever we tap a artifact token for mana, add 1 mana of any type that artifact token produces. So basically it turns our meteorites into a tap to add 2 mana of any colour, and still does 2 damage. And again, doubled up with Annie Joins Up. Doing 4 on enter and attack is really, really powerful while ramping us. Then 3 copies of Dragonhawk Fate's Tempest. 5 mana, 5/5 fly. When it enters or attacks, exile the top X cards of a library, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 4 or greater. So the floor is 1, because obviously Dragonhawk is power 5. You may play those cards till the end of your next step. At the beginning of your next end step, Dragonhawk deals 2 damage to each opponent for each of those cards that are still exiled. So so the exile is doubled up with Annie Joins Up. So if we have, say, 2, we will exile 2 twice, so 4. But then the deal 2 damage to each opponent is not doubled up, because that's part of the first trigger. We will still get, you know, if we leave all 4 cards in graveyard in exile, we'll still do 8 damage. It's not doubled up to 16 damage. And then we do have 1 a tally, just as our top end. And the rest of the deck is removal, 3 Get Lost, 4 Lightning Helix, and 4 Brotherhood's End. Mana base, a lot of mishmashes. We do have 4 starting towns just to help out with our mana, because generally we need white and green. Well, we need white and red early for removal for Get Lost and Lightning Helix. We need green for Moira, green for Serah, double white for Beza, double red for Dragonhawk, Tempest and Brotherhood's End, and double red for Hydaelyn. So there's no rule one colour that we need more than everything else, which is why we do have Start in Town. We do have one Fable Passage to fetch up a basic land if we need to, and then a lot of three of each Verge, a couple of each the slow lands or fast lands, and then one commercial district and 2 elegant parlours. So that's the deck. It's really fun. I think it shows us that in the meta, but it's actually a lot weaker than it was when we played it in Bloomburrow. That was a really powerful deck. One of the things about that deck is we didn't play anything with power toughness under 3, so Brotherhood's End wouldn't kill any of our creatures, whereas now we do have 2 things that will kill it, and they die to a lot of things, which I do think is a disappointment when you make 2 or 3 mana legendaries which die to 1 mana spells. Just give them Walled. Walled 1 is just better than nothing, but when it gets going, it really gets going. But obviously the meta, I think now more than a year ago, is so much focused on removal, and even with the banning of Aberla's Awakening, which has done pretty much nothing to stop Omniscience, which everyone knew it wouldn't because there's other cards you can use to get Omniscience back. There is so much graveyard. The graveyard decks are so prevalent because we have Zombify in Foundations, we have Rakdos Jones Up, we have Valgavos Faithful, we have Squirm and Emergence, we have Helping Hand and Recommission, and to get back upon Oculus. So graveyard decks are so prevalent, and you could play Graveyard Hate in this, but then it takes away from the legendary aspect from it. I don't think there's a legendary that hates on the graveyard. If there is, leave a comment down below in the comment section, and I'll look into it. But yeah, it's a shame that the meta hasn't really changed much. It's still just obviously all removal and a lot of graveyard stuff, which this deck doesn't really handle very well. But I enjoy it when it works. It doesn't work that often. I'd like to give a shout out to my Planeswalker level patrons. They are Mihal, Arcadius and Adrian. Thank you very much for your support. Everyone else, thank you very much. I'm trying to hit 3,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Currently at over 2,800, so a couple hundred more to go. So if you've not subscribed, please press that subscribe button. It doesn't take you any length of time. It doesn't cost you anything, but it does help out the channel immensely. And please remember to leave a comment down below in the section. It helps the algorithm a lot. But in the meantime, I'll see you all in my gameplay. We go first. We've got Naya joins up, and a few things to double up with it. I think if we get a forest, we won't be able to Lightning Helix on turn 2, but it will turn on both our verges. We will need another white for Beza. So let's get our forest. Well, there's another white for Beza. What do they play out? Innkeeper's Talent, fun. Well, there's a Serah. Well, luckily, Annie joins up, can take that out. They do get to draw a card though. If we draw a red untapped red source, we can double a tally. Otherwise, we Roxanne. Don't have protection. Oh, yeah, that's annoying. But then we can Hydaelyn next turn. For I'm banishing though, just get another copy of Shard Mage's Rescue. Or Innkeeper's Talent, it's the only things they can copy. Well, let us Hydaelyn. We will get an Annie joins up and an Elvish Archivist. Archivist, sorry. I really like protecting things. Second Hydaelyn trigger. Let's put Ethereal Armor on Hydaelyn and then a Baser. We just gain some life. And then we can Dragonhawk. Exiling quite a lot. And then we transform Serah and we can attack in with our Roxanne because it'll be a 6/5. So we can attack past the Archivist, deal 4 to their face with the Meteors, and then yeah, we've got a pretty good blocker for Calyx, and basically Dragonhawk's going to decimate them completely. Hopefully we can surveil into more things. We do need double white for Baser. We'll play out the Copperline Gorge and then we can get out of Moira. Starting Town will come into play tapped, but oh well. So they're obviously a graveyard deck. Yep, there's a tally. Do they have... Do they have Zombify? They always do. Oh! Oh, let's Baser. Let's get lost a tally. Let's Let's attack with both. And let's Lightning Helix the Dragonhawk. But obviously, if they have another one... Oh, even better, Rakdos joins up. Wow, they're stealing all our Dragonhawks. And a Galter. We go first. With all our colours. Need double red for Brotherhood's End. What are we up against? Oh, there's our double red. Oh, against black. Mono black? Or probably Dimir. It's always Dimir. Oh, maybe it is just mono black. Let's get rid of that. There's another Annie joins up. Oh no, Rakdos. Oh, we can obviously take that out with Annie joins up. And hopefully we draw the land for Roxanne. Or maybe Annie joins up again. Or if we draw the land, Roxanne can kill it. You have a one-mana player, apparently. Well, unfortunately, that's tapped. Well, let's Annie joins up again. Doesn't really matter. Oh, I get to draw a couple of cards. What else do they have? Dark Confidant. Well, we can Roxanne. They have another Desperate Measures. Oh, I think they do anyway. I imagine that's what the sticks for. The sticks for. We now have a lot of mana. 9 if Roxanne survives. Goodbye, Roxanne. But our opponent scoops. That was worth it. Alright, we're on the play. We have all our colours. We've only 2 lands. Hopefully we can survive into another one. There we go. This lets us get down Serah and Moira. Let's hold up, get lost. We don't mind taking 2. Well, let's... I'm worried about something worse, basically. And we can just Brotherhood's End. Let's get down Moira, because that won't die to Brotherhood's End. And if it survives, we can get down Annie joins up. Which will gain us some life as well from Moira. Obviously a big if. Well, let's get down Serah as soon as we have a spare one. And if they play out a wider board, we can just Brotherhood's End. Alright, we will just chump one. We are stuck on lands. We'll get down another Moira. Yes. Wow, War Leader's cool. Well, let's get down a Serah. No for now. Obviously, one creature's going to do 4 to us. Well, unfortunately, we do just have to get lost, Downy. I think we Lightning Helix to try and gain some life. We'll buff up, try and buff up Serah again. Don't need another Roxanne. And I'm going to hold back. Problem is, unless they play a 1-1, we can't kill it with NA joins up. So we will a tally. And our opponent scoops. That was a close one. Well, technically we don't have any white mana either. Oh, we do, sorry, Inspiring Advantage. Let's get out Serah. Let's have our Serah removed. Let's take out the land white elves. We still need more white mana for Beza. We can cast Serah and then... I'm sorry, why couldn't we cast Moira? I mean, that's a bit ridiculous. We'll get him for 2. They're not far away from being able to get down their virtue. We kept another Dragonhawk because their Dragonhawk's gonna die. Yep. Well, let us Moira and then Dragonhawk. Gain a decent amount of life. We will transform. I think it was the beginning of combat, yeah. At least we had to draw a couple of cards with Beza.
If you want to scrap, let's scrap. I never run out of answers.
We'll add a couple of red. Dragonhawk again. Exile 3. Let's get down to Survival Land. I don't think we need that for now. And let's Lightning Helix. There, Vivian Reed. Well, that's a lot of Brotherhood's ends.
I need rest.
Hit him down to 10. Hit him down to 2. That's not going to do it. Because we can attack him with Dragonhawk. And Vorpal Tyrant does not have reach. Opponent goes first. We do need green mana, but we do have a decent amount of removal. I think we need a third Annie joins up. Well, he's going to get out a number of Flame Cash Geckos. Third one. Would quite like Brotherhood's End. And some red mana, I suppose. We'll take out the higher claw so they can't buff it. I mean, you've only really got one choice. I suppose the extra damage from the higher claw doesn't make much difference. Well, let's get down, and Annie joins up on the Bastional, because that's going to get double strike. There's Gev. We are down to 1. We will gain 8 life. There is Gev. We'll double block the Thoughtstalker Warlock. And let's play out Venat. They have a lot of things that can ping us for 1, but that's not one of them. This will draw us a card. We just have to get lucky. We just have to get lucky. But now they can just give something haste. Whoa, double Roxanne, great. Well, that hasn't got menace. Sorry, that hasn't got haste. Wow, that was close. Hello Magic fans, and welcome back to a very quick wrap up. As I said in the deck tech, this does show how the meta has changed in the last year. This was a really powerful deck in Bloomburrow. Now it's not, and as I said in the deck tech, that's, you know, the meta is just 100% removal and or graveyard decks pretty much at the moment. I know the meta is still trying to find itself after the recent bannings, but they don't seem to have done a huge amount apart from got rid of mono red, which is not a bad thing. But yeah, a mid-range creature, a creature-based mid-range deck does not do well when all your creatures just get removed. And as I keep on saying, you know, having a 3-mana 2/2 legendary that just dies to cut down, dies to burst lightning, dies to torture tower, is not fun. Give it walled or something. Just make it stick around for a bit longer so you can get value from it. Because if it dies the turn you play it, you get no value. And in Magic of today, you need the value the turn it comes down, and it's a shame that a lot of these new cards don't provide it as well. You know, whereas you look at like a card that's over a year old, even if it's removed straight away, you've done 2 to something and you've ramped. You know, and same with Dragonhawk Tempest, you're getting you're exiling those cards. Same with Beza. Moira doesn't, which is a shame. But yeah, it's just at least Moira's harder to remove because, you know, same mana cost, same rarity, but has 4 more power and toughness, so doesn't die to cut down, doesn't die to burst lightning, and if it's not kicked, doesn't die to torture tower. You know, and I know Serah's not meant to be a particularly tough character, but you know, just look at the difference. It's night and day. Doesn't die to Brother's End either. So yeah, it's just a shame that I say Magic's getting worse. I think it is, especially with Foundations. You know, that's going to last forever, and we have cards in there which are not too powerful, but because they're going around forever. You know, Zombify is a 4 mana reanimation spell, which is 1 mana cheaper than usual. Usually reanimation is 5 mana, but that's going to be around forever. So no matter what decks, you know, what sets we get coming up, there's always going to be a really good reanimation spell. So Graveyard Shenanigans and Graveyard Hate's always going to be relevant. And I don't particularly like building decks that you have to build to match the meta. I don't think that's fun. You know, otherwise you're just building Graveyard Hate with another shell around it, which is, you know, not what I like to do. So really, yeah, really disappointing, I think, of the how Magic's going, which is a real shame because it's a game I really do enjoy. But enough whining about from me. I'd like to give a shout out to my creature level Patreon. That is Thomas. Thank you very much for your support. And everyone else, I'll see you all in the next video.